The most striking truth about seductive future faking is that it doesn't work by lying about the present. It works by colonizing your hope for the future. We generally assume that a person's value is based on what they do, on their actions. But in these high-pressure dynamics, a really vivid fantasy can be used to make you completely ignore a reality that's just deteriorating. And that's the absolute core of the manipulation we're exploring here. It's this idea that a powerful story about tomorrow can totally obscure the hard, cold evidence of today. Which, it raises a really critical question. Why? Why does the promise of some dream life tomorrow make you willing to put up with an actual nightmare today? And that, right there, is the central paradox of future faking. It's that exact moment when your own ambition, your own hope, gets twisted and turned into the very mechanism of your own entrapment. Okay, so let's really dive into this. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to break this whole thing down. We'll kick things off with the paradox itself, then we'll look at the architecture of this manipulation, we'll map out the step-by-step blueprint it follows, and we're even going to get into the biology that makes our brains so vulnerable to it. And then, and this is so important, we'll get into the tools for awareness, and we'll finish up by reframing hope as your most valuable asset. So let's start with this central paradox, right? How on earth does something as positive as your own ambition get turned against you? Well, it's a really subtle but incredibly powerful shift. The very engine that pushes you to build a better life, your drive, your ambition, your desire for something more, it gets hijacked. And instead of pulling you forward toward your own goals, it becomes this leash, keeping you tethered to someone else's story, always waiting for a future that's just around the corner, but somehow never actually arrives. Okay, so how does this actually work? This isn't just some vague pattern of bad behavior. It actually has a formal name in behavioral science. It's a process where our brains are literally trained to systematically overvalue someone's potential while completely devaluing their actual performance. Now, the term itself sounds a little academic, but it's really revealing. Affective just means your emotions, and forecasting is about predicting the future. So this is literally the manipulation of how you predict your own future happiness. Instead of building trust through consistent, reliable actions, the controller builds dependency by creating this hyper-idealized vision of the future, a future that only they can deliver. And this isn't some abstract idea. It shows up in very specific, very high-stakes environments. Think about the whirlwind romance that promises a perfect life together after only a few weeks. Or that visionary startup founder who sells a world-changing mission to justify total burnout and missed payrolls. Or even those predatory mentorships that promise you financial freedom in exchange for more and more of your time and money. In every single one of these cases, the present reality is paid for with the currency of a promised future. And this chart just lays out the core shift perfectly. In a healthy dynamic, right, you're doing rational planning. You're looking at actions, at real results. Trust is built slowly, piece by piece. You are an autonomous evaluator of your own reality. But with narrative seduction, the focus shifts entirely to the story. Actions suddenly don't matter as much as the promise. Any neglect or disrespect today, that's just explained away by the glorious future that's coming. You stop evaluating reality and you start investing in a story, just hoping it pays off. This quote from the source material is, wow, it's just perfect. It captures that feeling so precisely. You pour all of your resources, your time, your energy, your loyalty into this enterprise that you believe in, only to slowly realize that the company has no assets, no products, and no real intention of ever delivering a return. You've become a shareholder in a ghost. So now let's look at how this trap is actually constructed. It isn't random. Research shows this kind of manipulation follows a very clear, very repeatable three-step pattern. And honestly, understanding this blueprint is the key to recognizing it as it's happening. The crucial thing here is how these steps work together. First, you have the blueprint phase. They learn exactly what you want most in the world, and then they present themselves as the one and only key to getting that dream. Then comes step 2, high arousal projection. They don't just say, we'll be successful. No, they paint a picture. They describe the house, the vacation, the feeling of accomplishment with such vivid sensory detail that your brain starts to experience it as if it's real. And then the trap springs, the shifting horizon. Just as you're about to hit a goal, a new obstacle pops up or a new requirement is added. The finish line is always moving and it keeps you in this constant state of pursuit. And this endless cycle creates something called investment bias. It's a really powerful cognitive trap, and it's driven by what's known as the sunk cost fallacy, this idea that you have to keep going down a path because of all the resources you've already put in. I mean, after pouring in so much time, emotion, and hope, your brain starts screaming at you that leaving means forfeiting everything you've worked for. Quitting feels like throwing away a winning lottery ticket just seconds before they call the numbers, all to protect an investment in an illusion. So we've seen the external pattern, but to really get why this is so dang effective, we have to look inward. We've got to understand the biology at play, the actual neurochemistry that makes our brains not just accept this fantasy, but actively crave it. When someone is describing that incredible future to you, what is going on in your head? Why does it feel so good, so real, so compelling that it can actually override the evidence of your own eyes? Well, the answer lies with a very specific neurotransmitter. And here it is, anticipatory dopamine. We get this rush of a powerful neurochemical not when we get a reward, but when we anticipate one. The pleasure is in the chase, the possibility, the dream itself. And here's the crucial part. Research shows this feeling of anticipation can be even more addictive than getting the actual reward. So a manipulator isn't really selling you a future. They're selling you a steady drip of dopamine by constantly making you imagine that future. They're selling the feeling of holding the lottery ticket, not the actual winnings. This slide just lays out the two sides of the equation perfectly. On the one hand, the controller's motivation is often just resource extraction without cost, getting your loyalty, your labor, your money for free by paying you in promises. And on the other side, the target's vulnerability is often a deep, deep need for transformation, a desire for an epic story that makes them willing to overlook a messy reality. Okay, so we have analyzed this problem from a bunch of different angles. Now, let's pivot to the solution. How do you break this cycle? Well, it all starts with reclaiming your connection to the present moment. This section is all about concrete tools for awareness and for personal sovereignty. So the key is this mental shift. You have to consciously move your focus. Stop analyzing the story. Stop trying to dissect the promise. Stop trying to figure out when this magical future will arrive. Instead, you become an auditor of the present. You look for the proof, the tangible evidence, the concrete results that exist right here, right now. And this is brilliant. This is how you do it. The Action-to-Aura Audit is a simple but incredibly powerful tool. On one side, you list the aura, all the promises, the vision, the story. On the other side, you list the action, the current reality, the actual results. You ask yourself, what's the grand vision I'm being sold versus what are the tangible results that have been delivered so far? How do they describe our beautiful future versus how do they actually treat me and other people in the present? This audit just cuts right through all the noise and grounds you back in reality. And this is the mantra for establishing healthy boundaries. A wonderful future, that's a great bonus, something awesome to build towards. But respectful, consistent, kind treatment in the present, that's the non-negotiable requirement for entry. You don't pay for today's respect with tomorrow's promises, period. All right, let's bring all this home. Ultimately, what this is all about is understanding the value of your own hope and your own time. These are your most precious, non-refundable assets. They are investments to be made wisely, not some currency to be used to pay for mistreatment. This final comparison really just drives the lesson home, doesn't it? I mean, anyone can have a vision. That's a style, it's a way of talking, but consistency, that's a fact, and it's proven over time. A vision is a description of a possible future. Consistency is a demonstration of character in the present. A vision can be a beautiful fantasy. Consistency, well, that's reality. And this is the ultimate takeaway from our entire explainer. Your hope is immensely powerful. It should be the engine inside of you, propelling you forward, fueling your growth, helping you build the life you actually want. It should never, ever become a handle that allows someone else to control your direction and your pace. So we'll leave you with this one final thought. Take a look at the most important goals in your life right now and just ask yourself with total honesty, is your future a destination you're actively building brick by brick with your own two hands? Or is it a story that you are being sold? The answer to that question is everything.